James Holden, Common Land, new single from the new album. Imagine This is a high-dimensional space of all possibilities. James Holden, who joins me in the studio now. How are you? You all right?
Hi, Tom. I'm all right, thanks, yeah.
Nice to see you again. We've seen quite a bit of each other recently with the podcast and all of that.
It was really nice doing that.
Did you have fun?
I had a lovely time. Thank you for having me to do it. It was a treat to see where the radio shows that I'd heard had come from. That was.
Did you feel? I'm always worried that people didn't like find what they were kind of hoping that they would find when they come in. I don't know.
I had an adventure. I found some interesting things, and most of all, I didn't want to make too much of a fool of myself.
Sure.
Because I have such a bad memory for the names and what that is.
I'm terrible.
It was all right. It was okay. Apart from my partner listened to it, and she's like, "Yeah, you've made a mistake there."
Oh, really? That's nice of them.
She said it in the most delicate possible way. It was really nice of her.
I think it's good. Yeah, I think my wife probably doesn't listen just because I think it would be almost entirely critical, because I have no memory whatsoever of anything and I don't really know what's going on.
It's
just trying to get,
okay.
as you said, just trying to get through it without looking too stupid, really, is my main aim with every show. Listen, thank you so much for coming on. Just amazingly excited that this new album is out. I mean, I was so addicted to the Animal Spirits record.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
And I don't want to say that I don't want to say I've listened to it too much, but I need an accompaniment because I have rinsed it a lot.
You can wear things out, can't you?
You can. I have to say my vinyl copy of that album is bad. It looks like I've been doubling up with it in nightclubs for years. That's the kind of state that it's in.
That's a good compliment, thank you.
But it's been, I don't want to have a go at you, but it's been a while since we had an album from you.
Yeah, it always is. I'm not the quickest. I have to feel like I've got a good idea, like some kind of whole thing that I can build that justifies the kind of fuss of it. Otherwise,
not just doing it for the sake of it.
Yeah, exactly. And I've been doing in between. I've had a lot of adventures doing smaller collaborations.
Yeah, sure. We had the Walker Simple thing. You've been doing things. I'm not accusing you of not doing stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And some things happened that got in the way as well.
Yeah, sure. But it's nice to have a big body of music.
It's nice to
listen through. Have you recorded this in the same way? Obviously, with the Animal Spirits, it was like they were live recordings.
Yeah,
but that was with a band. You've not done this time?
So with the Animal Spirits, I had this kind of, it was like a dogma kind of manifesto of rules of like no overdubs, no edits, and I had 5, 6, 7 people in my little studio room all together, all playing at once, and there's no possibility of making an edit. I'd made a rod for my own back, and mixing it, I almost went mad trying to mix it. Just like, you're stuck with this. You can't afford to get them all back from France and the other side of London and whatever else. So this time I did it differently.
Sure, but then part of the joy of, I guess, part of the beauty of the Animal Spirits album is that it, because it was recorded that way, it has like a certain energy to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. You can't fake that as well.
Exactly. So when you're thinking about not doing that, are you kind of conscious that you might be losing something? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's like a balancing act of trying to have a little bit of that, of having me playing live, or me playing live with like a couple of people coming in, or live takes, things happening.
Okay.
But then kind of giving myself the freedom to choose the good ones and put them together in interesting ways.
So you kind of made it a bit the same way, but not really.
Yeah, and you can have, doing it that way, you cut out a kind of like the accidents, the things where you accidentally put this take you did on Wednesday with the drums from another song, and Ableton just puts them in time for you, and you go, oh, like, actually that's what I was doing. Thank you, Jesus.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. Okay, so you are using Ableton, because I know you have a habit of making your own equipment.
Yeah, and software, that's my big thing at the moment, like making my whole environment that I play music in software.
So if you're using Ableton, do you kind of using some things that the kind of the common man can get their hands on? It's not just all this kind of crazy stuff you've created.
No, exactly. It's a real mix of, I don't want it to be some kind of elitist thing. I like my software. I really, when it's finished, I'm going to give it away on my website for sure. Like, I want people to have these tools, and a lot of the software I'm using, I use these plugins by this guy called Air Windows, who puts them up for free. If you can't afford to pay, you can have them for free.
Okay.
So, yeah, like you don't need expensive stuff, and I do use like basic Ableton for like mixing, but I do really like to make, for my music, I really like to make little living systems, and like the arpeggio, kind of, you can move the pitch of the arpeggio, but if you move it to the wrong place, the drums are going to go funny. And stuff like that. Like, you set up this whole like living little sort of like an aquarium or something, and you fiddle with it.
But so you're kind of your friends, and you know their flaws, and
exactly.
you know what they're good at.
My little sort of robot band to replace the real band. And that I do in software of my own.
But you did bring some people in on this new album. That you do have some crew in there.
Yeah, so it's got lots of Animal Spirits members. Like Tom Page, the best drummer in the world, is playing on one song, and Camilo Torrado, who plays tabla and stuff, is doing that kind of stuff.
And you've also been doing some sort of sampling, I guess, chopping up archive field recordings from British wild birds.
Yeah, so that was on that Common Land.
Okay, right, okay.
You just played, yeah, so I did a masterclass, like teaching for my friend Martijn. He made dubstep, but now he's off in all kinds of music.
Yes.
And he said, like, can you just do some quick examples of how you start from a field recording, and like open up some libraries for me to look at.
Okay.
And that one just really caught my ear, and I stretched it, and it did this kind of weird repeating rhythmic thing.
Okay.
And I deliberately, like an old school 90s time stretch algorithm or something. And it was just, oh wow, that's really trippy. Like, that's a whole song, and it just came together like in no time, just kind of, because when you have this, you're not working with a blank canvas. If you put a sort of field recording down, you're in a place already.
Sure, okay.
I can kind of just play synths for the birds to sing over, and that's much easier.
I imagine it's like painting and putting doing that first brush stroke. If you sort of get rid of that, you can
get the birds to do the first brush stroke.
And then you can start doing your thing. There's a kind of the album has a sort of like, I mean, I guess it's a bit sort of dancier than things you've done previously. There's kind of a bit of sort of 90s rave nostalgia to it.
Yeah, like it's a weird sort of parallel universe kind of dance. Like, it doesn't really fit in any DJ set of any moment in time particularly. No. It's kind of, it's like a dream about rave or something. Like, it's not.
But it's a certain rave. I think it's a rave like, you know, like crusty raves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where like raves where everyone wasn't gorgeous and weren't wearing expensive clothes, and you're in a field.
You've hit the nail on the head. Like, that was the kind of rave that I aspired to when I got into electronic music. And like, I'd been to a few free parties in Leicester where I grew up originally, and it was that kind of thing. And like, the free party organisers would do like community centre parties.
Sure, yes.
Everything's so wholesome and everyone's so nice, and it's mixed ages, and everyone's just being like pure and beautiful.
Yeah, okay.
I thought all of dance music would be like that, and then
it's like you go to raves now, it's like, why are all the dudes so ripped? Like, what's going on?
Where
well, I'm the only person here who's not ripped. Don't understand what happened.
Anyway,
don't understand what happened. Yeah, I miss that. It's everyone's sort of wearing DMs, like ravers in DMs.
Yeah, I'm wearing mine still.
Yeah, okay. We were talking about dining. I feel like we're both sort of homemade knitwear ravers.
Yeah, exactly. Those are the best parties. If someone's there in like a darned homemade jumper, then it's gonna be good.
So how are you going to be performing this new record then? Because like last time I saw you performing live, you were sat with your legs crossed on a stage. There's incense burning. I mean, is this new album going to fit into this world? Or, I mean, I know you gave up DJing a while back. I mean, is there? Do you kind of want to do this a bit more party or not?
I'm gonna stand up for this.
Oh, are you going to stand up?
Yeah.
Push the vote out.
Yeah, go wild.
Is it going to be a bit ravey?
Exactly, like this kind of. Yeah, like rave without. I'm really into like what the mix that I've done for you is.
Yes,
is this thing of like rave without being rave. Like, I really wanted it to be like uppy and trancey. And then got to the end, was like, there's like 4 songs with drums in there.
Yeah, I know. Look, that's my kind of rave.
But so it's like you can still get tranced out and like hypnotized and kind of high off music without it needing to be like, we're at a party,
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to find, this like middle ground kind of floaty kind of rave. I don't know, like a second room at a free party in 90s.
So what tracks have gone into the mix? Are they your own tracks? I've listened to the mix, but I didn't recognise any of it, which I quite enjoyed. But
yeah, I got to play. So there's something in. I know it was. There's. You've
forgotten as well.
No, I've started. So there's Hidden Rung, which is this guy who I know, he's appeared on my records doing sort of gibbering and stuff.
Okay.
And he's a very deep individual. And then this Son of Philip thing is on,
yes, okay.
It's on the Wig. I think it's something to do with the Wig Flex
crew. Yes, I've played that. I've played Son of Philip before.
You're going to love his new album if he's
okay.
really, like, I couldn't. I'm not often just blown away by stuff, but it's such a hooky album. Everything is like so well judged, and every song's a radio hit in its own parallel universe kind of way. There's this Maxime Denuc record, which is a guy who's got a MIDI-controlled pipe organ in a church.
Okay,
so he's playing
already into this.
Massive trance arpeggios, but then like recording it. You know how Colin Stetson records like the reverb and up close and all these different, and kind of gets the balance. It's like that, but for pure trance. I threw in Future Sound of London, like an old one,
right,
as a sort of, because they're such a big influence on this record, on me generally.
Yeah,
sort of, and also I think of them as being really connected to radio.
Okay, all right.
Their Kiss FM broadcasts from the 90s were just these mad. They'd have mad little sort of poetry sections, like weird role plays in it, like doing robot voices and stuff, and then go back to like banging 90s techno. What else? Oh, and then there's a demo of mine.
Okay, great.
I just needed I'd done it like a Seinfeld episode. I'd kind of written it backwards, and I worked out like I've got two halves of the mix. I've got to find something to go in between.
Okay.
And then I realised I was this little.
I'd do it myself.
Yeah, I've been making this little bit of software and just done a quick bounce. Like, does it work? Is it nice? And it is nice, but it never turned into a full song. That's all my stuff kind of.
Okay.
How it arrives.
When how much software have you made? Have you made lots? I mean, obviously, it's beyond my comprehension how anyone would even go about doing that. Did you spend hours and hours kind of doing these things, or is it something you can put together quite quickly?
It's a mix. Sometimes I can be in the flow of a track and I'll be like, wouldn't it be magic if every seventh note just got lost, or like every fourth one was a bit longer? And you can just patch that up super quickly. And that's like 5 minutes and it happens and off you go. And then sometimes I get a big idea, like, wouldn't it be like amazing if I could like integrate my modular and my computer and have this like wild thing going on stage and be able to. And then that took me most of lockdown, most of last year.
Didn't you like 3D printing your own buttons and things?
Yeah.
That's going in quite deep.
Yeah, it is. I get obsessed with things, and then
Well, it's good. I mean, that's the best way to be, I think. So the album is coming out. It's not coming out for a while. When's it out?
End of March.
End of March. So that's quite soon.
Yeah, we can don't hold your breath, but
yeah. And you've been doing. There's also some kind of visual collaboration. You've been working Inner Strings. Can you tell us about this video?
Yeah, he's the guy who's going to be doing visuals for me on the tour.
Okay, great.
And he's an amazing guy. He's really into oil wheels and projectors and 90s equipment, like old video stuff. And then, well, Gemma and my friend, the Hidden Run guy, wore the suit in the video.
Okay.
That's my two friends gallivanting around in like West London parks.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. But the main problem was that children kept wanting to befriend this like donut-headed red guy.
Well, this is serious art, guys. Get away. It's that kind of thing.
Well, yeah. Or
get rid of the kids.
Just like I don't want to get in trouble with the parents.
Yeah, sure. Freaking their kids out. So when the album's out, what's going on with touring? I know you're playing in Islington very soon.
Yeah, in Earth in Hackney, isn't it?
Oh, okay, yeah. Do you have like tour dates? Do you know about these things?
There's a whole load on my website.
Okay,
which saves me getting them wrong if I try and remember.
Okay, yeah, fine.
It's piling up, and I'm really excited because just to be back doing things like that after a little break is.
I'm immensely excited that you're back, James. And this album's just wonderful.
Thank you.
I'm absolutely loving it. And thanks again for coming in and chatting to us on the show.
Oh, thank you for having me.
We're going to play another track from the new album, which is called "Imagine This Is a High-Dimensional Space of All Possibilities." The title is just so dramatic and awesome. Where is the title from before we play this tune?
I found it in my notebook. Like, I tend to, when I get into the flow of something, I tend to just kind of stay up, carry on, and I realise I'm busting for the toilet. And I stop. And I found it was like 3 a.m. James had left it as a message for 10 a.m.
You don't even really remember where that came from.
It was something to do with this software and something to do with like the knobs you turn to play the music.
Okay.
They define the dimensions of a space, and then the song is a little trip through that space. And there are other songs which are similar, which would be slightly different trips. And then there are little bits of that space where it's horrible and bits where it's beautiful. And there's some kind of logic to how it all joins up, if you really think.
Whatever it means, I'm 100% here for it. Thank you very much, James. This is Contains Multitudes. Bye.